Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Last trading day of the week, yesterday afternoon. For some reason, I still, even though it was Wednesday, thought it was Tuesday, but then we have Good Friday. So I was all confused. But yes, this is the last trading day of the week. So we will go into what's going on with the markets. We have the Elon news. Oh boy. Good morning, Wavy. Elon putting up the cash well, he is not putting up the cash yet. He's offered for the Twitter buyout. No, no, there's your quick answer. No, I don't think they will accept. Good morning, Amit. I doubt he's going to put up that much himself. Will get help. I doubt it'll get accepted. What's the price? And what day is it next week? I think this is all a distraction. There's multiple investigations now going on with him. I doubt it will go through. That's just my take. I don't think the market thinks it's going through because it's not trading above the magic number of. How did he come up with that number, by the way, before we get into that, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button. Longer term viewers and subscribers, please come back, like the videos, and leave some comments. Oh boy, I hate talking about Elon because you get the Elon fanatics just going to town. But retail sales Retail sales already this morning, slight miss. Now remember, retail sales aren't inflation adjusted. So even though X autos is slightly up, this is not a good number. This is not a good number because inflation, retail sales, because it takes into account the cost of the goods, you have it up slightly on X autos, down on everything. But inflation adjusted, this is a actually horrible number. Initial jobless claims coming in slightly higher than expected, but that's not going to be a big thing. It's more that the retail sales number, and if you look at prices, import prices 2.6 versus 2.3, forecast export prices 4.5 versus 2.2. Inflation is hot, and keep in mind, please, consumer sentiment preliminary comes out at 9 a.m. in business inventories. So that's going to be big. And then this afternoon, you have a couple more Fed speakers. Can we please be done with Fed speakers? Ugh. Ugh. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Sashi. Good morning, Sterling. Welcome, everybody. Let's see. FOMC will touch base on this. 91%. It's a done deal on that. We're still slightly in negative gamma territory. The gamma flip is 45.28. With that, let me switch cameras. 45.28. Right now we're trading 44.31. Down a little, dipping slightly after the 7:30 numbers came out. You see this little and then continuing just downward. I was actually watching for this horizontal break right here, which we broke with the numbers. You can also see that little harmonic area there, retesting there. So what would put me in bullish mode on the morning? Keep in mind there's still some pretty significant support lower. So you see right around 44.27, 44.25. We have a major support zone. So if it continues down there in the open, I will watch for a reversal pattern. Then it's got to get through this 44.38 resist to about 44.39 resistance shelf. Above there, I start getting more and more bullish above about 44.45. And we could be choppier given tomorrow, again, Good Friday, no trading. And especially in this afternoon, we could get a little more choppier. We had the banks coming out this morning with a lot of earnings, and we can peek at those. With this little pullback, let me check this out now. With this little pullback, I am bumping up the harmonics now with this extended pullback. So even if we get above this 44.45 area, I'd really be watching about 45.52 and then 45.55. There's a lot of stopping points both for support. Now where it gets interesting is if you see here, Once you start breaking below 44.28, you could get a little momentum to the downside, but there's still 44.17. So that's where this could be a challenging trading day unless we get some major momentum bars. If you don't have a setups, I'd recommend more so shifting to sitting on your hands and watching stuff from the sidelines. It's better to not throw money after weak trades, especially with the last trading day and potentially slightly thinner markets. The numbers came out, and we saw those 9 a.m. numbers, which could ignite some kind of move, but that's what we shall see. If we break down Nasdaq below 14,155 area, then I could see a quick return to about 14,096. Where would I watch for a breakout place? This is choppy, declining price action. Really, my breakout play has to come in now about 14,260. There's no great pattern yet here, so and there's lots of little resistance points. So about 259, 14,260. That could be a run to 14,290, and then if we broke through there with momentum, then it would be up to the harmonic, which at about 14,334 to the downside. Below this, about 14,158 area, you go into a quick little clear path to 14,096. So that's your breakout and breakdown play, but there's not a lot of great patterns from my perspective in here. So just why, again, it's careful mode. It is careful mode, not aggressive mode today. Dow, we do have potential little top in here. Let's see how that came up with the harmonic. The little reverse harmonic, not quite there. So to the downside, if we did trigger this to the downside with the Dow, it would need below 34,442. We have 34,376, 34,346, 34,312 to the downside. Shorter term to the upside, again, it would just be a breakout play above 45.76. If it stays in this range, it's just scalp trading back and forth, which given the day, that's might be all we get, holding the 1 hour rotation zone. So that would be out of the way. If we did break down, you are against the 4 hour rotation zone. So again, there's still, even with this potential double, there's not a lot of great setups. Russell, key resistance here. So we can look at the shorter term, but again, you have this little breakdown play. That's horribly sloppy. On any sell-off move, you have a little clear path down here to about 2,000. So that's the only thing. And then to the upside, it would need to get above 2,026. That's the key area I'd be watching for, because I touched on IWM. And this isn't necessarily just for today. IWM about above 201.30 would be an interesting breakout play. If you're watching the Russells with the stocks, that's not necessarily just for today. That could easily still hold up for next week. The DAX, again, still caught between the support zone of right around 14,060 and then resistance zone of about 14,315. So it's either got to get a breakout or breakdown play below that with some momentum, and especially get at least a key 1 hour close below that. Let's see who else is here. Welcome, Abraham. Welcome, Anna D. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. Again, thank you for all the new people that are continuing to tune in. Really appreciate you being here. Crude. Remember, we hit that double yesterday. Now we're back into choppy. The only short thing I have for crude, right, or the only short-term thing, is this little flag pattern, which you know, we're still in all the, there's not a lot of great trading in this right now. Today is just not setting up for one of these great days. If it does break down, I'd be watching my area of about 101, 101.10 with the bottom of the 4 hour rotation zone and this little support shelf, and that would break below the flag. On a break up, your key area is 105, you know, but given these trading conditions, unless something really comes out and we break this with momentum, not touching it because, again, of the last trading day this week. So far, just this little flag pullback. Gold, again, finding that key resistance up here, pulling back. Nothing going on in gold. Watching for potential return to 1967. And this is why I continue trading around a core position instead of just buy and hold, because there's back and forth price action. Silver pulling back nicely, but nothing going on there. Notes, we do have this little toppy pattern. You can see it's a triple on the 1 hour, but the 4 hour, this is still making up a decent area. It's against the rotation zone, so slightly lower probabilities. I'll put the targets up there, but I'm really, again, unless we start getting some momentum in notes, there's nothing going on for me. 120.09, 120.04, 119.31. Dollar index, little pullback and rotation back up. Not quite into the daily rotation zone, but I'm just, again, this is just basing sideways, trying to work off its overbought condition, but we could easily see another rollover play in that. VIX is pretty much flat. I'll be paying attention if we drop below end of day below 21 on a closing basis. What else do we have? Ken says party. It's a little too early for that, Ken. In my book, Tesla looks like a slight gap down today. The double would still be in play unless you traded down like into this 980 area. So keep that in mind. You could get the little ramp up gap fill in Tesla and then trigger the double, but this could also turn into choppy conditions. So unless this double triggers, there's nothing, or unless it breaks down below 975.50. Below 975.50, you have this little clear path move, and the little next support ledge would be about 932. And if you wanted to do your harmonics, for moving down levels, if you're trading a breakdown play, would be about 950 and then 928. Checking in, of course, on the new news of the day, Twitter. You know, he offered 5420, again, that 420 number, and next Wednesday, 420. I think this is all just a game that he'll announce he's going to rescind his offer. It's not going to go through before next Wednesday, and I think the offer gets rescinded. And if it's serious, I don't think they go at 54.20. It'd have to be a higher offer to that. Pre-market, you see only trading 48.20. It ramped up a little earlier. And now's back. You see, here's the ramp. So if the street was really taking this seriously, it would still be pegged in my book above 54.20. So that's really what I'm keeping an eye on with that. So I don't think the street's taking this seriously right now. I'm not taking it seriously. Doesn't matter what I think, though. Still going to watch if this thing collapses, then we will get that rapid gap fill, but we probably won't get much more out of it today. It'll probably be next week, and next Wednesday is going to be my key day just because of he loves those 420 numbers. We'll take a look at some other stuff. Let's see. TSMC. You wanted that. Abraham. Oh, you just won TSM, not TSM. I was thinking. Again, Taiwan Semiconductor. Long term, it's a bearish pattern. So even on this little pop, I'm watching for a key resistance. It would just be a little pop play for me, but nothing. Again, we have a triple bottom now, breaking down recently. So this would just be a play in a longer term rollover for me. Again, you're against the weekly rotation zone. You do have this weekly double, but that would, again, lower probability. It's a daily triple, weekly double. And even if it rallies back to 109.50, I'd be watching for another rollover play in this. The only way that changes is if we base up here, we get the weekly out of the way, and then it triggers that double. That's the only thing I'm interested in with TSM. What else do we have? Sterling, welcome, welcome, welcome. Can you look at CAG? I know it's extended here, but with our current admin, that is allergic to oil production, we are planning on increasing ethanol production. Would daily 8 EMA be a good entry point? Sorry, not. Let's see. Yeah, this has had this. Oof. Let me just see here. Gotta do my analysis. Sorry, I don't normally look at CAG. So my area for a pullback would be between about 35 to about 34.70. I'd be watching for a pullback trade in there to take it out of this. God, I mean, you're coming up against, not only is everything pinned at the highs, you're up against a major resistance area. So this, yeah, this at least needs a pullback here. This would be my first zone to watch for a rotation, then a move back up. It could be done with a tight stop. Why would I want to do it with a tight stop? Because here's how I'd love to play this. Pull back here, rotation back up, and then look at this kind of area up here to unwind a little and get the stop to at least break even. So if this has resistance up here and stalls out, there's no risk in the trade. And if it breaks out, it can always add something back on a breakout play. But it could, again, pull back, base up here for a bit before the breakout. It really has to work off over this overbought condition. So that's what I'd be keeping an eye on. Again, earnings are out of the way, so you've had your drivers in place. Now this is you know, food and Conagra brands, but we're at this area of pretty substantial resistance. So I'd love either that horizontal base. If you can't get the pullback, then I'd want some kind of horizontal base and then the breakout above there, because you can still play this on the breakout play above it. It's just overextended right now. So this is nothing I would be personally chasing, and it gets really interesting above this level. After we get out of this overbought condition, we get really interesting above 36.38 for a run back to the 38.39 area. So yeah, long-term play, strong. Short-term play, need some different price action before it gets interesting on the short term. You too, Amit. You have a fantastic day. Now we had earnings with some banks. Citi, I'm just keeping an eye on this, not necessarily for today, but Citi too. Citibank, we have a potential little double bottom, a little potential bounce play on that up, little pre-market. They beat. Earnings came in 202 versus 143, and revenue came in stronger. I have not looked at all the other little gotchas yet, if there's anything with forward guidance or anything else. So just keeping an eye on this potential double play. Good, yes, good trading all. As Mike said, please be careful today. Yes, this is not the point to, in my book, this is not the point to be super aggressive. There are better days. You know, if you have a great setup, fantastic. Just it could be choppier conditions unless we start getting some major key momentum. What else do we have? We had Goldman up a little. This is not a double, by the way. Goldman could get interesting on a move, especially above this little spike high. There is no double, but this would be a play to about 335 area. excuse me, 335 is prior breakdown zone. So that would be a little quick pop play. And again, keep in mind you are against the weekly rotation zone, and that weekly area is right there. So that would just be something I'd be looking for a little pop play in. Nothing major long term yet. Yeah, the Twitter thing is just a gamble at this point. It is a gamble, and I'd actually, if I wanted to gamble on it, I'd be still betting back to the downside. Uh, Nvidia looks like it could run over 224. I mean, the whole thing on Nvidia is just if you're playing for something, it's the gap fill play. But you still have key resistance. I don't get really interested until it gets above 226. Because then we're into this key area above this resistance, and then you don't have, again, remember, a gap is a clear path, so this would be the stopping point before that. So above 226, it gets interesting for me for a short-term play. Is there an active double top on SQ on the daily? No, oh, not with this. No. There's no active double top. This is actually just a mess right in there. It gets interesting short term if you break down below 120. But from the bullish side, again, you have stopping point, no double top. So at this point, it would just be a breakdown play. Other than that, that's just a mess for me. Again, I like to look for the setups that are easier. And there's no double bottom because it's a triple bottom. And you're going into all this chop mess. You got a slight little gap there, but that if I had to trade that, I'd be forcing a trade unless again we got a breakout little move with some momentum. That's the only thing to minor gap fill, but I need momentum to the upside or momentum to the downside trading into this clear path with a little gap fill down there. Other than that, it's nothing. It's Mr. Yuck. All right. Let me just check back in. Again, there's not a lot of great setups today, so I wouldn't have been 40. If the street was taking this seriously, we'd be already at 54. We'll have to see if it pushes up there with retail when they come in at the open. Let's try to run it up because it's a guaranteed, but here's the thing. You're back at 54. You know, ooh, that would actually be interesting if it runs up there and we get that nice little double top. That could actually be interesting then if he says, deal's off, I'm selling, collapses back down to the 31 area. But this is going to just be a headline grabber. So just pay attention to that. If you don't have a trade, don't do anything. We'll catch base this afternoon at normal time and just do a quick recap today and answer any questions. And then nothing's going to be going on tomorrow. I will be still putting out the sector analysis, and will do a live stream on Sunday. Okay, Easter Sunday, we still will do a live stream in the afternoon because we still have to prep for next week. And I'd rather do it on Sunday when we get the markets now with a recap fresh in our mind for next week instead of doing it like tomorrow when we could forget everything we do before Sunday. So I will talk to everyone later this afternoon if you have time to tune in. Thank you for everybody who is tuning in now, and thank you for all the new viewers. I will talk to everyone later.